no matter the location. From O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? Today's Raiders Rumors Mailbag is presented by Pro Flowers. Go to Pro Flowers. How do you do that? Chatsports.com/flowers. So we answer, a lot of questions on today's show. We're going to be kicking it off with a guy who I'm going to guess is from New York City. What up, Brian? How can we not sign one of these top free safeties? So you're talking about Marcus Williams and John Johnson, I believe, from the live show itself. Both very talented. John Johnson might be the more, we'll say, free safety style center fielder and really solid when he's healthy. Then you also got Marcus Williams, or if you want to roll the dice on a 24-year-old who could really be the next top free safety, the next Justin Simmons, if you will, in the National Football League, maybe that's the route you go. But there's a lot of good safeties out there, and for anybody that wants to see more safeties that the Raiders could go out and sign, check out my video, Top 10 Free Safeties the Raiders could sign in 2021. All right, next guy's coming in here from Elder. What up? What are your predictions for Littleton in his second year with us? Well, actually, if you go back and watch the tape from last year, Littleton started to play a lot better over the final 3 games. It's because the system got a lot more simple. And in fact, according to PFF, 3 out of Littleton's last 4 games, I believe, were his highest rated games. The greatest thing about Bradley's system, it's kind of a lot like the Buccaneers where we saw in the Super Bowl, where it's very simplistic. You know what's going to happen. It's just, can you defeat it? For a guy like Cory Littleton, I saw when you threw way too much cover 6, that was Paul Gunther's system. When you threw too much of that at him, he didn't know what he was doing. If you can make it a little bit more simpler, which is what Rod Marinelli tried to do, it'll be a lot better. I'm hoping for 90 to 100 tackles, and he just got to be a lot better in the pass protection game. Let's go to Juice said, what's up, Mitch? Trade for Watson, bring back Joseph, release Harrison, Lawson, and Nixon. Well, luckily, Eric Harris, Nevin Lawson, and I don't think Keyshawn Nixon's a free agent, but I know Harrison and Lawson are. I don't expect them to come back. Bring back Karl Joseph. I mean, where are you going to put him? Strong safety? I'd rather actually probably just have Jonathan Abram, and then trade for Deshaun Watson. I mean, you're going to have to give up a lot, at least 3 first-round picks, in my opinion. Super chat coming in from Pat Valdez. Mitch, what's up? Awesome content. Russell Wilson and Allen Robinson. What do you think, man? I mean, it's almost impossible to actually trade for Russell Wilson. It's probably even harder, maybe, than Deshaun Watson because Russell doesn't really want out of Seattle. In terms of Allen Robinson, he is my number 1 free agent wide receiver out there, and it looks like Chris Godwin is going to end up going back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At least that's what I see in reports. So if you want a number 1 wide receiver, go out and get Robinson, but you got to be prepared to pay him probably like $20 million a year, $60 million guaranteed, 5-year contract, $100 million. It's a lot of money, but maybe it's worth it. So you know what is worth it? Free Raiders videos, and if you always find yourself looking for new Raiders news, rumors, and if you want some live shows as well, hit that big red button that says subscribe and join us. We are the number 1 most watched Raiders channel on YouTube to make sure that you don't miss anything. So if you do want to see Allen Robinson coming onto the team, we'll make a video if it ends up happening. How do you turn on the notifications? Here's an easy way to do it. Mom, I'm talking to you, so pay attention. Go to the settings app. It looks like the logo on the far left side of your screen there. Scroll on down, tap YouTube. Dad, don't punch the screen. You just gotta tap it just with a little finger. And then tap notifications and then turn on allow notifications. What I want everyone to do in the comments section, once you do that, I want you to tap that. So that I knew that you ended up tapping that, okay? Sound good. Turn on your noties. Let's go to the next guy coming in here on the Raiders Report. Cookie Monster. Mitch, what do you think of getting Gilmore? Stephon Gilmore, 2019 Defensive Player of the Year, did battle a lot of injuries this past year. I want to see how his thigh is. I believe he, tore his thigh muscle, which I imagine for an NFL player is absolutely gigantic of a muscle. We'll see what he ultimately wants to do. I believe he's 31 years old. I would imagine New England probably wants a first-rounder for him. I mean, if you could say right now, second-round pick, we throw pick number, I don't know, our second-round pick at him, pick what, 48? That's something I'd at least entertain, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Is Finner, what up? Did you see the trade from Bleacher Report where Derek Carr goes to the Bears? So, shout out to producer Sam. Harrison, he also runs a Bears show, and he made this graphic, so we're just going to put it up on screen. This was the trade idea from Bleacher Report. Raiders receive Nick Foles, a 2021 first-round pick, so 20 overall, and then their second-round pick, 52 overall. The Bears get Derek Carr. Okay, let's talk about it. Who wins the trade here? Type R for the Raiders, Type B for the Chicago Bears. Who do y'all think wins this trade idea? If it was 2 first-round picks, I'd probably say absolutely. Also, you got to remember, Nick Foles, he's going to make $4 million, so that's what the Raiders would ultimately have to pay. Do I think that the Raiders should make this trade? I'm going to answer it kind of the same way I did in my News and Rumors video on Tuesday. Yes, you make that trade, but only if you can flip Nick Foles, only if you can flip the first-round pick and the second-round pick to go out and get a guy like Deshaun Watson. Because if your plan is to start Nick Foles, I don't care who that first-round pick is, and I don't care who the second-round pick is. Nick Foles stinks. And if I got to pick between Nick Foles and Nathan Peterman, oh, man, it's going to be a long, long year. So you're only going to make the trade if you're going out and getting a guy like Watson. Let's go to Butterball 1983. What do you think the starting D-line would look like? So obviously you're going to have Cleveland Ferrell, Max Crosby. Besides that, it's really tough to be able to predict. I don't know if they ultimately bring back Jonathan Hankins, who is a very solid run stopper. I don't actually see them bringing back a guy like Vic Beasley. I actually don't even know if they bring back a guy like Tack McKinley. If you could add a solid defensive tackle, whether that's in the draft or in free agency, I would love Leonard Williams. There's no doubt about that. But the only 2 pieces that I 100% know that are going to be the starters, Max Crosby and a guy like Cleveland Ferrell. Besides that, it's really going to be hard to see. Tommy, do we move Abram finally? You're talking about him to linebacker. I actually would rather him play linebacker and mix in a little bit more because he's not a safety in the NFL. Let's go to Twin Poppy 5. Put Tanner Muse at free safety. Potentially, they tried to move Muse to linebacker this past year. That's why they made him number 55. He played some safety at Clemson. I just find it hard to believe that Tanner Muse was worse than Eric Harris, worse than Daniel Levitt. And if he was worse, then why the hell did you trade up into round 3, pick 100 overall to pick him? You got to figure out what you're doing. Sometimes you can't get too cute. You just got to play a guy where you know he can play. And it just does not look good right now, him playing linebacker. But we'll see from Abram. We'll see from a guy like Muse when they have a more normal offseason and you can practice a little bit more, be a little bit more with your team. At least that's what I'm hoping for in 2021. So if you guys want to get your questions featured on the show, you got to do this. You got to use hashtag Raiders, or you can super chat. If you're watching this on a later date and you're not watching it live with us Tuesday, you can always hit me up on Instagram. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. I leave my DMs open for a reason because I understand people got busy lives and sometimes you don't have time to watch the Raiders Report live on Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. I get it. So hit me up on IG. Let's talk some Raiders. Slide in my DMs. And if you want to get your T-shirts featured on the show, I know there's a lot of clubs out there. Hit me up. Let me know. All right, next question is coming in from Christopher McGuire. I feel the offensive guard position is extremely important to the success of the running game and continued development of Josh Jacobs. How do you see the Raiders addressing this position? Well, I don't really think that they're 100% confident in leaving John Simpson rock and roll at left guard. He was the guy they drafted 4th round out of Clemson last year, I believe pick 109 overall. I don't think they have full confidence in him yet. They're going to see how healthy Denzel Good is. Remember, he left week 16 against the Jets on a stretcher, which did not look good. If he's healthy, I end up bringing back Denzel Good, who did a phenomenal job at guard, filling in for right tackle as well. I don't see them bringing back Richie Incognito. The other issue is this. There's not really too many great guards in this year's draft. It's a pretty weak offensive line class, in my opinion. So you could potentially see them go out and get some guys on the free agent market, maybe like a Brandon Scherf. I know he normally plays right guard, but you can put him at left. Maybe even a guy like Joe Thuney is an option. There's some other solid offensive guards out there. All right, Daniel Rubio, Super Chat time. Bucs defense plus Raiders 2020 offense equals a Super Bowl. I mean, it's kind of hard to argue, right? I mean, it was an incredible game. I think it was funny. I mean, Tom Brady played well, but imagine Derek Carr throwing 3 interceptions in the NFC Championship game. They lose that game by 4 touchdowns, probably. That just goes to show how great the Tampa Bay defense was. I mean, Brady threw 3 picks against the Packers, and they still won the game. They totally whooped the Kansas City Chiefs 31-9 in the Super Bowl, which was a pretty fun thing to watch. All right, let's go to L.A. Cash. Mitch, I know you love Jevon Holland out of Oregon, but do you think he will be available at pick 49? I do think he will be available. So a lot of these players that opted out, I think they actually end up falling down the draft board. But the more and more tape I watch, the more and more I think that players could fall down the board because they opted out. I'm actually starting to think that Holland could potentially be there in round 3. Now, maybe that's a little bit of a stretch. That's fine. But I'm starting to actually fall in love with a guy like Richie Grant. safety from UCF. I mean, if you could get him maybe instead of Holland, it's something that I would definitely think about. But the amount of safeties that there are, at least in free agency, like that's the other thing here, right? Like if we don't get any safeties in free agency, then you make it a bigger need. However, I think that the Raiders can get one of the top 9 safeties on the market, and then you don't have to put such a big need on safety in the draft. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, so what's the better gift for Valentine's Day? It's coming up, and I don't want you to be the guy who doesn't have anything for his loved ones, whether it's your mother, whether it's your daughter. Heck, if you want to get yourself something, there's no shame in that whatsoever. So what's the better gift for Valentine's Day? Type F for flowers, or I want you to go down in the comments section, type C for chocolate. If you're typing C for chocolate, are you a milk chocolate, dark chocolate, or white chocolate? There is only one right answer. I just want to make that very, very clear. Sam, what are you? Milk? Okay, Sam's milk chocolate. I'm team milk chocolate as well. Type F for flowers, type C for chocolates. If you can't decide what to get your loved ones for Valentine's Day, let the professionals handle it for you. Go to chatsports.com/flowers where you can save 15% off all flowers and gifts because, yes, the day is coming, and it's coming really quick. So they have all different sorts of arrangements and flowers. Like, I mean, you need roses, they got you hooked up. You need tulips, they got you hooked up. Maybe you don't want flowers. You want a charcuterie board? Luckily, it's chatsports.com/flowers and not chatsports.com/charcuterie. It would be an absolute headache, am I right? If you like sweets, they got chocolates. They also have macaroons. I've never met anybody that doesn't like a macaroon. They are like probably my second favorite dessert. Number 1 is cannoli. So Pro Flowers, get cannolis next year. Chatsports.com/flowers, 15% off all flowers and gifts. The day's coming up quick. Don't miss it. All right, so I promised y'all that I'd start answering some questions on Instagram. So if you want to get featured in next week's show, DM me on IG. This one's coming in from Guy Eric McDonald. Hey, Mitchell, you hear anything on Morrow? I almost typed marriage. Okay, so he's definitely thinking Valentine's Day. I know he's a free agent. Any idea on how much he wants? So Nicholas Morrow is a fun player to me, and he's a player that I would love the Raiders to be able to figure out a way to bring him back. He used to be a UDFA, really stuck around with the Raiders, made his way on this team, and had a very good season in 2020. You're going to see the 78 tackles. You can see the 3 sacks, but he was a lot better in pass protection, and I would make the argument Kwiatkowski was the number 1. Nicholas Morrow totally outplayed Cory Littleton. It wasn't even close, but there's some other solid linebackers in the draft. I am curious to see here, but he did make $3 million last year. I anticipate he probably wants to make at least $3 million again this year. So how about this? You offer Nicholas Morrow essentially exactly what he made last year. I believe it's like $3.5 million. Would you do that? Should the Raiders re-sign Nicholas Morrow for $3.5 million per year? I want you to type Y for yes or scroll on down in the comments section and type no. Demo Roof, do you think we could trade a number 1 round pick and some others for Darius Leonard? I do not see Darius Leonard getting traded. He is way too valuable to that team, so I'll say no. Joker Johnson, if we need defense, why would we spend big bucks on Allen Robinson? You need defense, there's no doubt about that. But if you want to keep Derek Carr happy, and if you want a true number 1 wide receiver, it's at least out there. All I'm saying is this. The argument is, would you rather spend $20 on Allen Robinson, or would you rather spend $10 million on Nelson Agholor? I'm starting to be a lot more team. Let's pay Nelly. I really liked him stepping up and being more of a vocal leader. I also really like Allen Robinson, but my vote is, if you're going to spend, you might as well spend on an absolute slam dunk. And Nelson Agholor, no offense, he's not a slam dunk. It's his first good year in a very long time. Let's go to Walter Clements. We need to use Bryan Edwards more. I agree. Edwards was a fun product out of South Carolina. I know Mike Mayock likes him a lot. If you were to ask me who do I think has a better chance of being the true number 1 wide receiver for the Raiders team out of Ruggs and Edwards, I'd probably say Edwards. Now, he's just got to stay healthy. He battled injuries at South Carolina, battled injuries this past year. Hopefully with a normal offseason, normal training, he can be a solid player. But I do agree the Raiders do need to be able to find out a way to get him more targets. All right, let's go to Andre Jordan. Would you rather have Curtis Samuel, Nelson Agholor, or Corey Davis? If we're just looking at talent and talent alone, I do think that Corey Davis is probably the most talented receiver out of that, but it's very close. Now, in terms of money, I think Curtis Samuel will be the cheapest option out of that. But in terms of all these players being pretty freaking equal, I'd probably just go with Nelson Agholor because I know what Nelson Agholor can do. I know that he had a solid connection with Derek Carr. So with all these players being so close, Give me a guy like Nelly. All right, let's go to Garrett Schroeder. Let's get Justin Simmons, Leonard Williams, and draft Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. So Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is starting to be the dude that I absolutely love. If you haven't already seen our latest mock draft on Chat Sports, go check it out. The Raiders ended up drafting Joke, and I want you guys to seriously go check out all our videos at Chat Sports. I love Justin Simmons. I just think that the Broncos would be dumb to let him go. Same with the Giants letting go of Leonard Williams. I'd be surprised, but if both of those dudes hit the free agent market, you absolutely have to go after them.